Welcome to the Berean Brotherhood.
I'm going to end this debate right now. What happens when 100 men go up against one gorilla? People die. People get injured. And before any true damage happens to that gorilla, he's going to be dripping in their blood. To my Berean brother Lee, I disagree with you. 100% I am Team Gorilla. The fight sounds like it's some cosmic scene from a superhero movie or the nightmare of someone that's working security at the zoo. But this is my verdict. If the men are unarmed, the gorilla will win 7 out of 10 of those fights. Welcome to our channel, the Berean Brotherhood. I'm your host, Pastor David, and this ridiculous sounding hypothetical situation is causing such a frenzy online, and I'm going to share my opinion. But before I do, you know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and continue following us for good Christian apologetic content. 100 men versus one gorilla. 2 words: incentive and motive. Those are the things that I have not heard yet from any podcast or from anyone that's ever talked about this. What is the incentive behind them going up against this gorilla? Because if it's not a cash prize, if there's nothing that they're going to physically receive, that totally takes away their incentive, which is gonna affect their way of fighting this gorilla. And the other word is motive. What is motivating them to risk their life? Because the truth is, a lot of lives are going to be sacrificed as they go up against this gorilla. And, when we're talking about this gorilla, there's some things that we haven't even spoken about. One, its aggressive nature already. And 2, adrenaline. Do you think that once they start to grab him, that adrenaline rush is not going to give him the endurance to martyr all of the people that are trying to fight him? We're not considering the raw strength of this gorilla. It could bench press 1,800 pounds like it's nothing. Do you want to withstand the punch of an animal that can hit at 1,800 pounds of pressure towards your chest? Nah, not me. We haven't even talked about the agility of the gorilla. It can climb, it can leap, it can charge at you with terrifying speeds, adding onto it mass force to the pressure of the punch that it's going to hit you with. Its durability in its skin, the texture, it's like rubber. The muscles are like steel cables. Listen, without weapons, they're done. The intimidation factor of being in front of a creature that can literally drag your body. I saw eyewitness video of people in the jungle and the gorilla grabbing a grown man by the leg and dragging him along like he was a rag doll. You're going to tell me that you're going to stand up and fight that without feeling any intimidation at all? I think that before the fight even begins, you're going to have 30 people quitting. And the thing is that gorillas have experience fighting other gorillas for fun, for territorial reasons, which means that they could take a punch, they can take a grab. Trust me, I don't think that the 100 men are going to have a chance. Now, right, let's talk about some cons in fighting the gorilla. The gorilla is not going to have strategy. It's really just going to be a brawler. It's going to fight. It's not a technical tactician. It doesn't know different fighting styles. It's just going to be survival at that point, which we should not underestimate the gorilla's ability to override anything in its mind to try to survive with adrenaline and all that other good stuff. But 100 people is a lot of targets to start fighting, and the gorilla is probably going to be afraid of 100 men running towards it. It's also ego, right? It might just try to do more intimidation tactics than actually fight, right? Thumping his chest and not really finishing the job, trying to cause or create fear inside the men. And eventually the gorilla is going to get tired. The gorilla does have cardio limits, but before that, these 100 men, let's assume that they're average dudes, not Marines, not toddlers, just average Joes that have gym memberships they don't go to the gym. The pros are what they have the advantage of is that they have that many men. 100, it's a ridiculous number. They totally outnumber the gorilla. If they use mob tactics like swarming, tripping, tackling, if they have weapons, they're definitely going to be at a disadvantage. Hopefully, those 100 men could come together with a collective IQ that they can produce a good idea, good enough that everyone grab a limb, and hopefully that will be something that, with enough of them, will work. And basically, some of them are gonna need sacrificial bravery because let's be real, a few of them are gonna die. They are going to be sacrificed, slowly beaten down, and it's just one of those things that is inevitable. People are gonna die in a case scenario like this. Some of the cons is that with humans, so many humans all at once, it's gonna be chaos. One person's gonna want to grab, one person's gonna want to punch, another person's gonna want to hide, another person's gonna be winded as they're running towards the gorilla. They're gonna be panic prone. The first sign of blood, at least 60% of that 100 is gonna feel that fear inside of them, and we already know what are the responses of trauma or fear induced situation. It's fight, flight, and freeze, and they're definitely not gonna want to fight. So they're gonna flight, they're gonna want to run away, and they're gonna freeze up, which is gonna cause them to be a perfect target to get abolished. And at least five of those people who are fighting is going to get into some friendly fire where they'll probably end up hitting each other. But let's do a quick battle breakdown, right? In the opening seconds of the fight, the gorilla charges. 12 men are airborne. He's pounding one of them out. In the middle of the battle, you got the first 30 who are just taken down, beaten up, all bloody. The gorillas power bombing people, throwing people all around. The guys trying to form a human Voltron type thing, but they fail. And basically, as the gorilla begins to pant and is all covered in scratches, covered in blood that is not his own, they begin to sandwich him all together, pull his limbs out. The only conditions for victory is if the final remaining men can survive throughout the first maybe 5 or 6 minutes of the fight, and those final guys are able to hold him down. Maybe they can kill him, maybe they can strangle him, but they're definitely not going to be able to do something long enough where he doesn't get his second wind. Now let's go into some Bible stuff, right? I want to give you some Bible references of animals and people, their interactions, and things that we see throughout Scripture. First story I want to talk about is Elijah and the female bears. 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 23 to 24. It says, "Then he went up from there to Bethel, and he was going up the road, and some young men came from the city, and they mocked him. So they turned around and cursed them, and the two female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of those youth. These animals were used by God as an example of divine revelation and divine judgment against those who spoke against the prophet. They didn't only speak against him, but according to some theologians, they weren't just young men, they were like young adult men, and they were making fun of Elijah for being bald headed. And Elijah got his feelings, and he just was like, boom, and these bears came, and we don't have an exact definition or explanation of why this particular we don't have an exact explanation of why this happened, but it is something that happened in the scripture. Another example of man versus beast, we have Daniel going into the lion's den. Daniel is thrown into a den of lions, but remains unharmed due to the Lord's divine protection. So animals are used as instruments of testing and judgment in difficult times. And last but not least, in the book of Judges, we have Samson. A young lion came roaring towards him, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him in such a power and might that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands. And this is an example of seeing a man fighting and killing a wild animal with supernatural aid. Again, he's not the only one. David also, when facing Goliath, said, I've I fought bears, I fought lions, and who is Goliath to me? And when I think about David, I say everybody wants the highlight reel. The highlight reel is David killed Goliath, but no one wants to fight the other giants. The scripture tells us that Goliath had 4 other brothers. So when David went to gather the 5 smooth stones, he went with the mentality that he was going to wipe out all of Goliath's family, Goliath and his 4 brothers. So we cannot be concerned about the public giants that we slay, but we need to be looking at the 4 hidden giants that are you're going to slay in your life, those hidden battles that no one sees, that God is going to give you the victory in. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Continue to like and subscribe. Thank you all. God bless you.